Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap, your nightly news podcast on all the news that I come across throughout the day, giving you my take as somebody who aspires to be a politician in the near future. Hope all you guys are doing wonderful. Hope all you guys are doing well. We are in the dorm, a little scenery change out of the car. Unfortunately, it is the end of an era, but the beginning of a new one, which is pretty cool. But hopefully, all you guys are doing well. It's been a few days. Of course, we haven't had a video since Saturday, Sunday now, which is, unfortunate, but we're back. So hopefully all you guys are doing well. It's been an interesting one over these past few days, but overall we have, pretty solid recap from today. Also, before I start this, I would just like to say thank you for helping me get past 250 subscribers. I believe we are past 260 now, which is really cool. Let's keep trying to get to 500 by the end of the year. So if you're new here on YouTube, please subscribe. That would be epic. But with that being said, thank you all for showing up to this episode, and let's get into it. Moving on into the Trump administration segment, as we do, the first topic we have for today is Trump sent the Border Patrol to Gavin Newsom's press conference. During Governor Gavin Newsom's speech about redistricting plans, we'll have more information on that in a little bit, Trump said Border Patrol agents to view the event at the Japanese American National Museum in downtown LA. Border Patrol Chief Craig Bovio told a Fox 11 reporter, "We're making Los Angeles a safer place since we don't have politicians that will do that. We'd have to do it ourselves. We're glad to be here. We're not going anywhere," Newsom's office said in a post on Twitter. "Border Patrol has showed up at our big, beautiful press conference. We will not be intimidated," seemingly copying Trump's writing style for most of his tweets. Whoever runs Gavin Newsom's social media accounts across the board deserves a promotion because they have essentially been on a roll this entire administration. It has honestly been hilarious. This is very clearly a dumb scare tactic by the administration and honestly a waste of time and taxpayer dollars. I mean, there's no way sending Border Patrol to an event like this was necessary, as it's just going to cause chaos and create problems that shouldn't happen in the first place, truly. The redistricting is a whole thing in itself, but like Trump's just creating extra problems here that are unnecessary. In other news, Trump's PBS alternative said slavery wasn't bad and they want that in classrooms. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting announced last week that it would shut down after Congress took away funding from the organization, impacting both PBS and NPR. Alongside this, the White House introduced a new educational partner at its launch of its new Founders Museum exhibit. They introduced PragerU, a nonprofit that creates right-leaning content for adults and kids, introduced by Department of Education Secretary Linda McMahon. One video that has drawn mass controversy was about Christopher Columbus, in a clip where he said that slavery was better than being killed, along with claiming that people shouldn't judge the past by modern standards. If you haven't seen the clip, just look up Christopher Columbus video about slavery being bad or something along those lines. You'll probably find it. It's wild, to say the least, and they want that in schools, which is even crazier. They want to teach children that slavery isn't bad. That is insane. Keep in mind that we have a civil war over that exact issue. Slavery isn't okay in the slightest. I think we all know that. And to claim that it's better than dying is absolutely fucking insane. But hey, it's not surprising. Even Trump himself owns slaves in Dubai. If you don't know about it, you should look into it. Maybe I'll make a video about it. I'm not sure. But these people are horrific and, pinnacle of terrible in our society. Freedom and justice for all until it's not for anyone that's not them. Like, they are self-obsessed and only care about the things that only impact them, which is disgusting, genuinely. In other news, Trump is considering giving Putin access to Alaskan minerals just to end the war in Ukraine. Trump is willing to offer Putin access to rare Alaskan minerals in Alaska to end the war in Ukraine. Trump said there was a 25% chance the deal would go through, or the deal on Friday would flop, calling it overall a chess game. The administration is already receiving backlash for this, as it could enhance Russian strategic interests in that area. As we know, Russians and even Putin himself aren't a fan of the fact that Russia sold Alaska to the United States in 1867. Many of the people in Russia call it an illegal deal, even though they weren't around back then. I mean, as much as we all want the war in Ukraine to end, it's not really our war in the first place, and we shouldn't have to give up military or mineral access, to the enemy for that. Not only does it make us look weak for essentially folding to Russia, but Russia and Putin especially are the enemy and the aggressor. Um, they haven't done anything to us, that would prompt them being able to get access to that. Putin's puppet in the White House wants to give away Alaskans' resources, and nobody should support that, especially Alaskans. I mean, he wants to give away what you have the right to as an Alaskan citizen, and that's dumb and gross, truly. In other news, moving into another segment around the essential takeover of DC by the Trump administration, first topic we have is Trump is seeking long-term control over the DC police. Trump has announced that he will be asking Congress for long-term control over Washington, D.C.'s police department and continues to signal doing the same to other Democratic cities throughout the country. Trump has also boasted about having dozens arrests overnight in D.C., which leaders claim didn't happen, but seemingly is looking to force his way into occupying not just the city, but multiple cities across the country. DC needs to be freed, and it's stupid that Trump is even doing this in the first place. He is essentially going to give it to Planeteer, and I mean, that's for one, late stage capitalism, but also some cyberpunk shit, which is scary. For those who don't know, cyberpunk is a video game and an anime. If you're interested in what late stage capitalism would look like, I recommend it because it kind of shows a lot of what the possibilities are. I mean, giving a tech surveillance company control over a city is insane, and it shouldn't happen. I mean, we're out here embracing feudalism in the United States when we work so hard to get away from like a king. Like, we're taking a step back to way before our country even existed here. Like, what is going on? This is genuinely so stupid and makes no sense at all. I mean, it is against all things American. It really is. In other news, DC residents have essentially turned on law enforcement. Residents in Washington, D.C. took to the streets last night protesting the deployment of police forces. Demonstrators in neighborhoods across the district expressed distaste for law enforcement as officers moved to establish checkpoints along some of the busiest streets within the city. In one location, some protesters shouted at officers setting up checkpoints, while others diverted drivers away from the points so they could avoid it entirely. Last night, officials said 45 arrests were made, along with 3 weapons being taken away, and there were a total of 1,650 participants in the operations. Today, the presence of law enforcement has also seen an increase with Park Police, FBI, and DEA agents along the streets of DC. This entire DC situation is absolutely crazy. It really is. I mean, Trump has essentially taken over the entire city against its will and against the people, and really nothing is being done to stop him, which should change. Not only is this going to get worse day after day, but it is, genuinely going to harm the entire city overall. I mean, as mentioned, he is going to essentially let Planeteer run the city. Project 2025. Um, you know, After this is all over, we genuinely need to make a push to consider or get DC to be a state, because at least it would have protections that it doesn't have here. There are so many protections DC would have if it was a state, not to mention getting representation and so many other things that it just doesn't have, that it should have. The fact that it doesn't is crazy when it's been a part of our country for so long. Moving into the ICE segment today, we have one topic as ICE added a random person to a group chat exposing manhunt details. ICE agents had a group chat used to share sensitive information on an active search for a convicted attempted murderer who was marked for deportation. The text included an unredacted ICE field operations worksheet and was called mass text. This is one of many security risks done by the administration so far, and guess what? It was another press member this time. A senior official added Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic. The group chat contained 6 members, and nearly after an hour of being added, Goldberg received strings of license plates numbers in the texts and much more about the ongoing investigation. Following the example of Pete Hegseth is, really interesting here. Overall, this is crazy. I can't believe this has happened twice now. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it more. Agents really seem more interested in, pumping up arrest numbers than actually doing their job and being careful about it, which I won't complain about because fuck them. I mean, they're doing horrible things anyways, but it really is unprofessional. Granted, at least it's not the Secretary of Defense again, but still, like, this is crazy. Like, What are you guys doing? Like, who is running these group chats? Is it some old grandma? Like, you guys aren't checking who you add to group chats before you create them? Why? Like, huh? What's going on? Genuinely. Moving on to another segment about redistricting, Gavin Newsom has announced California's plans to redistrict. Gavin Newsom has announced plans to redistrict California along with other prominent state Democratic leaders. Newsom said during his speech, "We can't stand back and watch this democracy disappear. District by district, all across this country, we need to stand up. Not just California, other states need to stand up. Democrats in California are pushing a map that would make essentially every district within the state blue if it passes." As much as I hate the idea of redistricting and essentially taking out people's voices, you can't just let red states win because they're going to do it anyways. And if we let that happen, then we're not going to get anything done here. As nice as it would to be to see, Democrats win in these gerrymandered districts throughout Texas and other red states, it's probably not going to happen. Let's be real. Someone needs to stop them, and Newsom is doing so. So hopefully we see others follow suit. I know we have seen other states like Illinois and I believe New York as well, who have considered redistricting. And honestly, someone needs to do it to block this administration from causing more damage to Americans than we've seen so far. In other news, an Illinois judge rejected attempts to arrest Texas Democrats. An Illinois judge has declined Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton's request to hold Texas Democrats in contempt. Judge Scott Larson wrote in his order, "As the petitioner has failed to present a legal basis for the court to obtain subject matter jurisdiction over this cause of action, this court without jurisdiction to grant the petitioner's emergency motion to rule on pleadings, this court does not find that it has the subject matter jurisdiction. This court does not consider the issues of personal jurisdiction, venue, or merits of the underlying petition to rule to show cause or the request to issue a rule to show cause upon the respondents." This is great news, as Texas Democrats still essentially have 2 more days to avoid the redistricting session overall. I mean, Republicans in Texas need to be prevented from robbing millions within the state of their voices, and Democrats staying out is a way we can do that. It is an active attack, on the entire system, and the right to vote for the people and the right of the voices for the people, and it really should be illegal on both sides. People shouldn't be allowed, or politicians shouldn't be allowed to just gerrymander these states. I mean, it's obviously causing more problems than it should. So why do it in the first place? It's corruption. That's really what it is. Moving on to our other news segments, the first topic we have is really interesting, as ChatGPT poisoned a man. A 6-year-old man spent 3 weeks in the hospital after replacing table salt in his diet with sodium bromide, following a conversation with ChatGPT on what he could use. According to the report published by the Annals of Internal Medicine earlier this month, the man had no prior issues when he arrived until he switched to sodium bromide in his diet, which caused him to express concern of his neighbor poisoning him. It was himself. The report says within the first 24 hours of admission, he expressed increasing paranoia, auditory, and visual hallucinations, which resulted in him being put into psychiatric hold after trying to escape from the hospital. Once he came to, he said his experiments lasted 3 months and was an attempt to help his diet after reading about the negative effects of salt. This is insane, also kind of silly, I'm going to be honest. I mean, but why are we using AI for this in the first place, dude? Come on. I mean, AI is a genuine problem in our society, especially in the ways people rely on it, especially for things like this. Why are you asking AI what to substitute within your diet for salt? I mean, really? It really is, honestly unhealthy how much our society uses AI and to the ways that we use it. Can it be a good tool? Yes, absolutely. But should we as a society rely on it too much? No, absolutely not. You should still be able to do research yourself without just typing it in a question. Go learn, go read a book or something. AI is, in my opinion at least, I think AI and robots are going to be a negative impact on our society if we don't regulate them and if we don't prevent them from taking things like jobs or doing things like this. I mean, things like this shouldn't be happening. AI should not be poisoning people. That's insane, genuinely. In other news, we have some horrific thing as the Supreme Court may overturn gay marriage. The Supreme Court has been asked to hear a case on overturning gay marriage, a massive move that would affect millions within the country. They are yet to take action, but it remains unclear if they will. The case was brought by Kim Davis, a former Christian clerk who was briefly put in jail for refusing to issue same sex marriage certificates. There is a conference for the justices to consider the case on September 29th, which means we won't have an answer till around October at the earliest. This is absolutely insane, and if it isn't Project 2025, why is it Project 2025 shaped? Not only would this be a massive shift, and not just American, but maybe even global politics. I wouldn't be shocked if they went after interracial marriage next, because that's in Project 2025 as well. I mean, these people need to be shut down. They are attacking whole rights for Americans, really, and that shouldn't be allowed. I don't understand how anyone can continue to support that. Moving on into our final topic of the night, prices have surged higher than expected. The inflation within the U.S. wholesale market surged unexpectedly last month due to Trump's tariffs. The Labor Department reported that inflation for consumers rose 0.9% last month, becoming the biggest jump in over 3 years. When compared with last year's prices, wholesale has overall risen 3.3%. These numbers were higher than expected by economists, but they believe that they won't last as prices adjust to the tariffs. I'm not shocked by this at all, but I'm sure these corporations will use these tariffs to overall not only raise prices, but put money in their pockets because that's kind of their whole deal. Profits over people. That's the capitalist way. Will things change if people don't pay? Maybe, but I don't think we're going to be able to orchestrate a boycott big enough for that, especially with all the opposing sides and all that. But I would love to be proved wrong on that one. So lock in, guys. Let's get something done there. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching this episode. I hope you all enjoyed. It's definitely been an interesting one in the news world as or overall. Yeah. Um, if you're on YouTube, please consider subscribing. As mentioned, we're on our way to 500 subscribers, and I would really appreciate it if you could help me get there. So let's do it. Outside of that, if you're on Substack, please consider subscribing. All funds go to me. Help me pay for the things that I'll need to pay for in college, like food and clothing and all those kinds of things. But if not, you could always subscribe for free. I truly do appreciate all forms of support on this content. It means the world to me. You guys are legends. You guys are goated. Have a good night, guys. I will see you all